You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. We begin with an update on the deadly plane crash in Washington, D.C. overnight.
An FAA report says staffing at Reagan National Airport was not normal at the time. In fact, we're told one person was reportedly doing the job usually handled by two. Now let's get a live look at the scene of that crash. Recovery efforts are still underway for those on board the American Airlines passenger plane and the Army helicopter.
The plane had 64 people on board. 3 soldiers were on the helicopter. Officials say there are likely no survivors. Fewer than half of the victims' bodies have been recovered. Later on Live at 4, we'll have information about what we know about those victims, and we'll hear from the president.
In other news, UW-Madison is taking steps to comply with all of these changing orders from the White House. In an email to UW schools, chancellors and deans, university leadership said it would do the following: make no new obligations on existing federal awards and no job offers either, limit discretionary non-personnel commitments on federal funds, and also coordinate with federal agencies related to stop work orders and delays on payments. It's a lot. Now this comes after President Donald Trump pulled back on the plans to federal agencies to freeze funding. The provost told the deans and chancellors to share the message with their prospective schools. The email that went to staff and faculty with the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences reads in part, quote, "We understand the evolving situation is very frustrating. I encourage all of you to continue your important work as best you can. Please be supportive, especially to our graduate students, trainees, and any staff that might be feeling especially anxious from these events."
Now let's get a look at our first warn forecast. It is a pretty nice day out there, Blaze.
It is very warm here across central and southern Wisconsin. Typically weather that we wouldn't see for a few more months, and I don't think a lot of folks out there are complaining about the heat. Obviously, it means that we're not dealing with any snow, which is, depending on who you ask, a good or a bad thing. Let's take a look at those current temperatures across southern Wisconsin. It's 53 in Black River Falls, a pair of 60s, Bosco Bell south into Prairie du Chien, 56 in Madison, 52 in Waukesha and Milwaukee, 53 up there in Manitowoc. A very warm day indeed. Already as of 3 p.m., here's a list of just a few of the cities across central and southern Wisconsin that have recorded new daily high temperatures for today's date. La Crosse specifically has recorded their warmest all-time January high temperature with their temperature today. So it has been a very warm day across not only central and southern Wisconsin, but across a lot of the Midwest, really along I-90. 60 in Waterloo, 58 there in Fort Dodge, 57 in Austin, Minnesota. This is where we just have not had a lot of snow, so we're able to warm on up. We don't have that snow to reflect a lot of that heat back into the atmosphere. We should be at 27 degrees, but we're more like feeling as though we're in mid-April into these mid to upper 50s. Getting to 57 today means that we tied 1874 in Madison for the second warmest hot temperature ever recorded in Madison's history during the month of January. 58 is the warmest temperature that Madison has recorded in the month of January. We're going to settle into the 30s tonight, dealing with a light wintry mix, and we could squeeze out one more mild day before more seasonal temperatures return. We'll track it out in the full forecast.
Thanks, Blaze. The Goodman Community Center's former vice president is charged with multiple felony charges related to theft of movable property and forgery at the center.
The Dane County District Attorney charged Dwayne Powell with 2 counts of forgery and 7 counts of theft of movable property, ranging from $10,000 to $100,000.
A criminal complaint alleges Powell used the center's credit card for personal use, and that includes trips to the Ho-Chunk Gaming Casino. The center found out about Powell's alleged crimes during an internal review, after which they told Madison police. Goodman says it made changes to its financial policies to further protect its money, and says neither donations nor grant money were involved in the alleged crimes.
And a statement from the Goodman Center on the charges reads in part, quote, "This has been a violation of our trust and a breach of the goodness of those who support Goodman. Rest assured, we will move forward together in strength. We will not let the wrongdoings of one individual define our legacy, good work, programs, and people that make our center essential for so many here in Madison." Well, as you know, mascots are a big part of high school life and the legacy carried by those students.
Madison Metropolitan School District is in the process of updating the mascot logos for its 4 high schools. Armand Rahman shows us how you can get involved.
Many of you probably know Reggie. He's the lion that's the mascot for West High School. This is what Reggie could look like, as MMSD is getting community feedback to change the mascots at all of their high schools. Officials say they now have blank canvases to fill in the 4 high schools newly renovated as part of the 2020 referenda. From now until next Monday, community members, students, staff, and families can share their feedback on 3 different options per high school online.
So we were in an existing contract with BSN Moore and their parent company, Varsity Brands, which gives us some budget relief for apparel and uniforms and so forth for our athletic teams. And one of the additional services that they offered as part of that contract was, helping us manage some of our branding. And this is what kind of led us to the survey related to the images of our existing high school mascots.
Athletic Director Jeremy Schlitz says these are not the final images. They will take the feedback back to the vendor to come up with more finalized designs. Schlitz also says the new designs will not replace current mascot logos, but new apparel, graphics, and more will have the updated ones. But some in the community say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That includes the creator of Reggie the Regent. We speak to him, find out what he has to say about the mascot changes tonight at 5. For now, reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Armand. We have an update from UW Health about one of the victims in the Abundant Life Christian School shooting. The healthcare provider says one of its patients was discharged and is now at home recovering. The other patient remains at the hospital in good condition. And tonight on News 3 Now at 6, Maddie Heimsch brings us a special report diving into school safety following that tragedy.
Now, Safeguarding Our Future walks us through what different districts are doing to keep staff and students not just safe, but feeling well as well. I mean, they need to feel it, and we have Maddie here to tell us a little bit about what we can expect.
Yeah, so I talked to a couple different people for this report, a couple different administrators in schools around the area. I wanted to get a little bit of a variety, so we talked high school, elementary school, public, private, bigger schools, smaller schools. They all have to follow some legislative guidelines here in Wisconsin to keep their students and their staff safe. So talked to Madison Metropolitan School District, Stoughton School District, Edgewood Campus School, and the Office of School Safety with the Department of Justice to get more of kind of the legal side of things too.
I'm sure there's a lot to keep track of because every school has its own specific needs. So what are the best safety practices?
Yeah, big question. Yeah. So in talking to these different administrators, the kind of best practices fell into 2 different categories. So there's those physical safeguards, which is kind of what a lot of us think of when we're thinking school safety. All the exterior doors are locked. You badge in as a visitor. Some schools have school resource officers. Some schools have metal detectors. Those things that kind of really keep the school a hard exterior. But then there's also, some of the administrators were telling me about the social emotional learning and needs, because unfortunately a lot of these school safety incidents come from inside, come from students inside the school. So they really focus on guidance counselors and making sure students feel like they belong.
And did you hear from any schools about immediate actions that they're taking? I know they have a lot of time and need time to really look into things and talk to the experts, but did anyone say, here's what we're doing for now?
Yeah, they're right after the Abundant Life shooting, right in December, and following up to now, of course. Well, the day of, there were a lot of secures and lockdowns in the Madison area. Obviously, it's a big shock. And in the immediate aftermath, there's been a lot more guidance counseling, emotional support while they wait, of course, for the next school year to start and new budgets and referenda to get some more of those physical infrastructure in place.
And right now, is there anything parents need to know, or what can they do?
Yeah, so the Office of School Safety, like I was mentioning, they have resources online for how to talk to your kids about school violence at different developmentally appropriate ages. You're not going to talk to a kindergartner the way you would talk to a high schooler. And if you have a child who goes to school in Wisconsin, their school has really detailed, really outlined safety guidelines. Every school has to have them. So the teachers, the educators in your child's life, they're planning.
Exactly. And I can say from experience, having raised 2 that are just about done, there are a lot of resources out there. And talk to your kids too. That's key, because they sometimes think they don't want to talk about it if they're scared of anything. But yeah, thank you so much, Maddie.
Of
Thank
course.
you. That's tonight at 6?
6 o'clock.
All right. I'll see
Looking
you
forward
then.
to it.
Thank you.
Coming up on Live at 4, the president's comments on America's first deadly commercial plane crash in more than 15 years.
Plus, what we know about the victims when we're back. We're learning more about the collision between a passenger flight and an Army helicopter near Reagan National Airport.
Last night in Washington, D.C., an American Airlines flight carrying figure skaters, their family members and coaches crashed into the Potomac River after colliding with a U.S. Army helicopter.
Emergency authorities are still working to recover more than half of the victims' bodies. Earlier, we heard from the president, who suggested, without evidence, that diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts within the Obama and Biden administrations led to the crash.
I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
It's one thing for internet pundits to spew off conspiracy theories. It's another for the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
The investigation remains underway, and the Trump administration says more details about the victims will be shared later.
Meanwhile, senators hosted confirmation hearings for some of the president's cabinet nominees.
CBS News' Meg Oliver reports on what we heard from 3 of the president's most controversial picks.
The Senate Health Committee's top Republican said he's struggling with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination.
That's my dilemma, man.
Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician and says he's concerned by Kennedy's misleading arguments about vaccines.
If you come out unequivocally, vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact.
But earlier, Kennedy said he'd first have to see the data.
If you show me data, I will be the first person to assure the American people that they need to take those vaccines.
Tulsi Gabbard asked senators to confirm her as Director of National Intelligence and defended her position on Russia.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
Trump loyalist Kash Patel faced questions on his nomination to lead the FBI.
And I've never once advocated for political violence or violence against law enforcement.
Democrats called his statements about January 6 defendants disqualifying.
I'm talking about his characterization of criminals who assaulted police officers as political prisoners.
While his nominees make their case to Congress, President Trump returned to a campaign theme, instructing schools to promote a patriotic education. An executive order threatens to withhold funding from schools that teach about gender ideology or critical race theory. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
And back here, it is a pretty warm day for late January. Here's meteorologist Blaise Keller.
That's right. Many of us still in the 50s right now. A few of us maybe even in those low 60s for about another hour, and then we'll cool on down. Some unseasonable heat is overhead, and if you don't like the cold, enjoy it, because after this weekend, we are going to get back to more seasonal temperatures. The warmth right now is because a low pressure system is coming out of the lower Mississippi River Valley, and as it moves northwards, it may bring us some rain as we go overnight into the first half of your Friday, but then our next high pressure system moves in out of Canada. This is going to help clear out some of that cloud cover by the afternoon hours Friday and keep us on the quieter side to start off Saturday. But then our next low pressure system moves on in. This one's going to be coming out of the Dakotas, so not a lot of moisture with it, but it may help us warm up once again into those upper 40s to low 50s. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is going to be this cloud cover as we go into the morning hours. If we want to get into those upper 40s and low 50s, we really need this cloud cover to be out of here by the time we go into that 10, 11 in the morning time frame. So that allows that afternoon sunshine to heat us up. And we're still in the heart of winter, so we really need as much sunshine as we can get. If we stay cloudy for longer during Sunday, I would expect us to be more into those mid 40s, if not a few upper 40s, rather than the upper 40s to low 50s. But our first chance for rain moves in as we go overnight. This is maybe going to mix in with some light snowflakes. Notice that a lot of that green is staying south of Dane County, hugging communities along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. And as this low pressure system pulls its way into more of the Midwest, it's going to take that moisture with it. The heart of this system just is not close close enough to us to really give us that kind of soaking rain, if you will. And then those winds turn out of the north as we go into the rest of your Friday afternoon. That's going to help bring in some drier air, clear out that clouds, and allow us to maybe climb into the 40s before we head overnight into Saturday. In terms of rain totals, we're looking at maybe a couple tenths of an inch to a quarter of an inch of rain, especially further to the south into the Chicagoland area. They're going to have a better chance for at least a quarter of an inch of rain, which is not necessarily bad. Our ground is still very frozen, so any liquid that's going to fall on the ground may get lost into the drains, and we still have drought conditions to combat. So we would probably lean more snow to build in that snowpack and not lose that rain and moisture versus rain going into the drains and not into the ground. As I said, we're looking at maybe one more mild day after Friday into your Sunday, and then we're more seasonal as we go into the start of February. What's going on bigger picture in the upper levels of the atmosphere? Well, here's the green, here's the yellow. This is that warmer air that we're sitting underneath. This is the jet stream, essentially right here. This is a very typical jet stream that we'd see late winter, early spring. We're getting these dynamic air masses, the colder and the warmer kind of mixing together. But it looks as though we may say goodbye to the warmer temperatures and slide back into feeling like winter as we go further into next week. Long-range models do want to bring back another blast of at least Canadian air, not Arctic air, but Canadian air. So maybe we're back to feeling like winter as we go closer into the middle of February. We're looking at about a 50 to 60% chance of sitting underneath cooler than average temperatures over the next 8 to 14 days. So enjoy the warmth if you're not a fan of the cold while it is here. We've got a couple more days. Back into the upper 30s to mid 40s for your Friday after that morning mess wraps up. Partly sunny conditions to end your Friday. More cloud cover and a better chance for an all-day rain-snow mix threat on Saturday, clearing out as we go into Sunday. That is, of course, Groundhog's Day. And then we're back into the 30s as we go into next week.
I am enjoying the warmth. It was a windows down kind of day.
It was a very nice day indeed, yes.
January 30th. How about that? Well, coming up on Live at 4, it is Friday Eve, and Josh Sprider has 3 things for you to do in the 608 this weekend.
I like that, Friday Eve. And time is running out to be part of our community baby shower. How you can still help out when we're back.
It's Thursday afternoon or Friday Eve, whatever you want, and that means it's almost the weekend in the 608.
Josh Sprider is here with your weekend planner.
I have 3 things for you to do this weekend in the 608, and the first event, a well-known one in these parts, with one of our favorite videos we love to rewatch year after year on Groundhog's Day.
He says that he didn't see a shadow.
Of course, the video we can't forget here in Wisconsin. Hard to believe it has been 10 years since Sun Prairie Jimmy bit the mayor at that time. Now this coming Sunday, the community is invited to join the 77th annual Groundhog Prognostication. This is a long-standing tradition that begins bright and early at 6:45 in the morning in Cannery Square. Jimmy will make his highly anticipated prediction at 7:11 a.m. after Jimmy's prediction. Runners and walkers can hit the course to race for a cause and show off some seasonal spirit in the Hibernation Hustle 5K Kids Dash. The excitement continues with the morning pancake breakfast featuring Jimmy the Groundhog, followed by a sled dog demo starting at noon. Well, Saturday is National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. It's the day when you can reach for your spoon first thing in the morning. All 9 Madison area chocolate shops will be ready to help you celebrate by opening their doors bright and early at 8 Saturday morning. There will be a special breakfast menu consisting of fresh Green Bush Bakery Donut Sammys and made-to-order waffle sundaes. That event runs until noon. Then later on Saturday, you can celebrate the Lunar New Year. This is a celebration observed across several Asian cultures. On Saturday evening at 6 at Blackhawk Church, dive into Chinese culture with exhibits, dumpling making, and a traditional tea ceremony. The Chinese New Year variety show will also be happening. Organizers say whether you're familiar with Chinese traditions or new to them, this is a perfect opportunity to learn and celebrate together. For more ideas this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. In the 608, Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
Thanks, Josh. No matter how many times I see that video of Jimmy, I know it's coming, but I still...
Like a bunch of little kids out here giggling. Can't help it.
Well, our community baby shower is happening through tomorrow, and we need your help to make it a success.
Yes, we do. News 3 Now and Madison nonprofit Babies and Beyond are once again teaming up to help hundreds of families in need when it comes to pregnancies and babies. Danielle Smith and her family are among the hundreds who have benefited from the services of Babies and Beyond. The wife and mom of 4 says she has been able to prepare for each of her babies with the help of the nonprofit. Smith says donations from the community allow essentials like diapers, wipes, clothing, and big ticket items to be free of charge.
Being able to secure, a bassinet, being able to secure diapers and wipes and things like that, having that extra added support was one way that it really prepared me for my first son. The peace of mind.
Look at that, sweetie. Some of the items needed most include girls' winter clothing, diapers size 5 and up, pull-ups, baby wipes, and formula, just to name a few. You can drop them off at the Babies and Beyond Donation Center that's located on South Stoughton Road. We have all of the details on our website, channel3000.com.
And still ahead on Live at 4, a reversal on climate policy.
How Dane County companies are dealing with the effects the new administration is having on their sustainability goals.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Did you get outside today?
I did. It felt like,
It feels like spring, doesn't it?
I was just going to say, it feels like the beginning of summer practically around here.
And the ice is melting. It feels like a false sense of security. I see our weather words are small chances for rain and snow, Blaze.
That's right. This is very typical of what we would experience in late winter or early spring, that jet stream going really far north and really far south, bringing us these really warm days followed by really cool days, the wintry mix. But we're in the heart of winter. Actually, this is kind of the end of the coolest point of the year for most of southern Wisconsin, but we're in the 50s. Let's take a look at those current temperatures across southern Wisconsin. 56 in Madison, 52 in Mineral Point, 60 in Boscobel. Many folks today set new records for their daily high temperature today, including Madison, La Crosse, Boscobel, Lone Rock, to name a few places. In fact, Madison at 57 degrees, we surpassed our old record high temperature by, I believe, 10 degrees. So Baraboo, Beaver Dam, Fond du Lac, Prairie du Chien, Viroqua, these are just a small amount of the communities across southern Wisconsin that really benefited or just kind of recorded new high temperatures from today's heat. As I said, this is the coolest point of the year. We should be at 27 for a high temperature. We're 30 degrees above that at 57, which is typical of mid-April. Do we normally see 50-degree plus days in January? Yes and no. Sometimes in some years we do, like back in 2018, we had 3 50-degree days or more in January. Same with us in 2025. We've had 2, including today. But if you look at all of our Januaries over the last 156 years, we typically don't get into the 50s in January. So if you like the warmth, enjoy it. We've got another set of warm days in the forecast after sliding into the 30s tonight. We are going to climb back into the 40s. We'll check out the rain-snow mix that we could see tonight in the full forecast.
Thanks, Blaze. And now we begin this next half hour with an exclusive interview. A Madison man died in police custody before the new year.
And now Richard Johnson's family is speaking out for the first time. Madison police arrested Johnson after a foot pursuit on December 30th. The next day, he died. We sat down with his mom, who is searching for answers.
How you know what happened? I don't even know what happened. So I know it's a lot of rumors out there that's not true, and you know how people is, when rumors get out, they carry it and they go with it. So no, he was not that type of person. He was not. And I don't like it, but but yes, I want him to be remembered for who he was. I also want them to pay for what they did to him.
Again,
he didn't deserve that.
Again, that was Johnson's mom addressing the rumors about his death. We'll be breaking down what we know from the Department of Justice and family tonight on News 3 Now at 6.
An update on the crash in Washington, D.C. as we take a live look now at the recovery efforts. The FAA is now reporting staffing was not normal at the time of the collision. They say the controller on duty was reportedly doing a job usually handled by 2 people.
And the crash happened last night between a passenger airplane and an Army helicopter. The plane had 64 people on board. 3 soldiers were on that helicopter. Officials say there are no survivors.
Just days into a second term, the Trump administration has already reversed many climate efforts from the Biden administration.
So what does that mean for consumers and companies here in Dane County? Our Ellie LaLiberte has the story.
No need for a coat today as Wisconsin is coming off of its warmest year on record. Now that's a concern for climate experts. So how will President Trump's actions impact Dane County's climate goals?
Let's start by taking a look at the changes the Trump administration is efforting. So far, he signed an executive order that removes the nation from the Paris Climate Accord, targeted Biden's effort to expand electric vehicle production, and declared the country in a national energy emergency, which allows the government to use private land and resources to get oil and gas. But Dane County's Director of Energy and Climate Change says for those with projects underway, there's no need to panic just yet.
All of the tax credits, all of the signed grant agreements are all still in force. There may be a moment where Congress makes some changes to the tax credits, but they're not going to make them retroactively. They're not going to say, you can't anymore claim this thing you did in 2024. That's not how the tax code works.
She also adds that the county is still planning on supporting projects.
That progress becomes a little bit trickier without federal support, but we will continue to make progress because that's what we do in Dane County.
She does say, however, that the moves made by the Trump administration could discourage people from getting involved in clean energy. Reporting in Dane County, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. And if you're interested in adding clean energy projects to your home, you can go to daneclimateaction.org, and under the Act Now tab, you enter your household size and annual income to see what state and possible federal programs you are eligible for.
The ACLU of Wisconsin is applauding the Dane County Sheriff's Office for its decision not to participate in the state criminal alien assistance program. According to the Department of Justice, SCAT provides money to agencies for jailing undocumented people with at least 1 felony or 2 misdemeanor convictions who have been incarcerated for at least 4 days. Sheriff Calvin Barrett tells News 3 Now he supported the county's participation in the program until the change in administration. Barrett says cutting ties with the program is aimed at helping the county's immigrants feel safe.
On Wall Street today, the Dow gained 169 points. NASDAQ was up 49 and the S&P 500 climbed 32.
Findings from a study out of UW School of Medicine and Public Health could help doctors fight the opioid epidemic. The CDC already recommends doctors give out lower doses of opioids and be cautious about renewing prescriptions. UW researchers found healthcare facilities that received support in implementing those guidelines had less regulation of their patients' opioids usage via treatment agreements and urine testing. The most successful implementations included regular checkups and evaluations with patients on their specific pain levels and quality of life.
Opioid prescribing ramped up over a period of about 20 years, and it's likely going to take another 20 years or so for the harmful effects to be undone. And this study is just kind of one element of that overall approach that's needed to combat the impact of opioids on society.
If you are struggling with an opioid addiction and you need help, call the National Helpline at 1-800-552-4357.
A program to reduce emergency room visits and help those in crisis is expanding to Sun Prairie. A team of 1 Madison Fire Department community paramedic and a mental health crisis worker are now available to people who call 911 in crisis. This program launched back in 2021. Now, the goal is to improve outcomes of crises and also reduce visits to emergency rooms and jails. Now, CARES is only available if you call 911. The Dane County Communications Center will then decide whether the reason for the call warrants police or this CARES team. The resource will become available in Sun Prairie on February 3rd. Teams operates between 8 and 9 during the week and 10 to 8 on the weekends.
And coming up on Live at 4, can traveling help keep you young?
Wendy Gillette has the answer when Live at 4 continues.
And we want to make a quick correction on our opioid story. If you are struggling with opioid addiction, you can call that national helpline. The number is 1-800-662-4357.
Just want to make sure you had that.
Yeah.
So a recent study shows travel isn't just for fun. It could be a defense against aging.
And we spoke with CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette earlier.
Sarah and Brady, we have all experienced the joy of a new place and the awe of discovery while traveling. Well, one study suggests the benefits of travel could maybe help extend our lives.
From Mexico to Spain, Australia to Belize, and just about everywhere in between, Christina Golick has adventures.
I have learned so much that the world is so much bigger than what I thought it was.
Golick has visited more than 40 countries, and now the former Phoenix resident lives on the road full-time.
I'm really interested in learning about what it's like to live in different parts of the world and different sizes of communities, too.
And that may be keeping her feeling young, according to a recent study published in the Journal of Travel Research. Researchers from Edith Cowan University near Perth, Australia, found travel can bring more positive emotions and improve physical and mental wellness.
Positive tourism experiments, they may have the potential to slow the biological aging process.
Those positive travel experiences also include visiting therapeutic environments like the sea and engaging in more physical activities and social interactions.
The study says negative travel experiences can have the opposite effect. Golick sees the health benefits from her travel.
I haven't driven in 5 years. It's great. It's fantastic. You walk multiple miles a day just for everyday errands.
The researchers say more studies are needed to determine which types of trips are the most beneficial for travelers.
The researchers say travel can stimulate stress responses and elevate metabolic rates, possibly improving the body's self-defense systems. Brady and Sarah?
So Wendy, does the study recommend any types of certain activities while traveling?
Yes, moderate physical activities like hiking, climbing, walking, and cycling. Basically anything that won't stress the body too much. Sarah and Brady?
I mean, if it's good for our health, I guess I'll have to start taking more vacations then.
Good excuse, exactly.
No choice, have to go.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks, guys.
I'll need a second and third job to be able to do that.
I was just going to say, and who gets to do that?
Not us, Blaze.
Well, it has been a really nice day here across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures climbed into those 50s, a few low 60s popping up as we neared the true end of January, the start of February right around the corner. And as we look to February, we may see some snow chances return back to southern Wisconsin. It has been a very lackluster month for central and southern Wisconsin and really the entire state when it comes to snow chances. We will see a light wintry mix really hug the Wisconsin-Illinois border tonight as this low pressure system moves out of the lower Mississippi River Valley. High pressure to our north is going to keep us quiet as we go throughout most of the overnight hours Friday into the start of your Saturday. And then our next low pressure system will move on in out of the Dakotas. This one could bring us that rain snow mix, especially across northern parts of the state. More of that snow than that wintry mix. But there's not a lot of moisture with that system. It's coming out of the north, and we obviously don't have a big body of water to our north, so there's nothing for it to grab moisture from. So we really need a system to come out of the south. And this system that will bring us this wintry mix, it does have moisture with it, but the low pressure center is just too far to our south. So we'll get more rain mixing in with our warming temperatures that are still overhead, maybe getting some snowflakes in there as we go overnight into the early morning hours on Friday. And then that low pressure system will pull away and we'll see more clear skies as we go into the rest of your Friday. We're looking at 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch at best for most counties south of Dane County. So that'd be Lafayette County as well as Greene, Brock, Walworth, Kenosha, and Racine counties, and then further south into northern Illinois. As I mentioned, it has been a very lackluster month in terms of snow. Local businesses who rely on snow removal can attest to this. Winter crops can attest to this as well. We have not even picked up 2 inches of snow in the Madison area, and we usually pick up about 14 inches of snow. And when you look at the next 10 days, we're barely getting about 1 inch of snow when we look at both the GFS and the European model. This is taking it out into the start of February. We do get some cooler air, so I think we maybe see a better chance chance for more snow than rain. But if you look at the entire state from the start of the month through yesterday's date, the entire state is at least missing 5 inches of snow. Here in central and southern Wisconsin, we're missing anywhere between 5 to 10 inches of snow, with a small bullseye in parts of Juneau and Adams County missing between 10 to 15 inches of snow. And across northern parts of the state, that's where they're missing over 15 inches of snow. So we really can blame the actual cold that we experienced for this. The high pressure systems moved in, they kept us quiet, they reinforced that cold air, and it kept a lot of our snow chances either to our north or to our south. I mean, folks along the Gulf there picked up more snow than we have all month. So we could use some snow. There are some rain chances and snow chances in our 10-day forecast. As we go into next week, they don't look impressive, but our temperatures will be cooler, so maybe we see more snow than rain. But at least through the end of the weekend, temperatures are going to stay above freezing, even nearing 50 back on Sunday, Groundhog's Day, and we'll see a better chance for more widespread rain, snow, and a wintry mix there on Saturday before that wraps up during mainly the morning hours on Sunday.
On the next Live at 4, Will Loper has what to watch this weekend.
And we speak with UW Hillel about what the Madison community is doing in the face of increasing anti-Semitism around the world. This is an exciting one. What if you can see Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, Stevie Nicks, Pink, and Jelly Roll all in the same place?
Oh, sign me up.
Yep.
Actually, you can. They are performing at the Fire Aid Benefit Concert weeks after the devastating fires incinerated large swaths of land in Los Angeles and left tens of thousands of people without homes. Some of music's biggest names are stepping in to help. The Fire Aid Benefit Concerts, they're a pair of side-by-side events slated for tonight, and they'll bring together pop stars, rock legends, grunge bands, everything you could want and more. And there's a shared goal of raising money to rebuild the tragedy-stricken city. The concert starts at 8 p.m. Central Time. You can stream it on several different apps, including the CBS News app, Paramount Plus, YouTube, Prime Video, and more. And you are excited for Pink.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is my favorite musician of all time.
Yeah.
And the Beatles, which is an odd combination, but true.
You know what? Music, you can like all sorts of stuff. It brings people together.
Exactly.
And it's for a good cause.
And there's joy in all of that. It's wonderful to see.
We need some joy. All right, we'll be right back. Tomorrow on Live at 4, Will Loper takes a look at what's streaming this weekend. And later on News 3 Now at 6, Maddie Heimsch reports on school safety following the ALCS tragedy. Well, thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.